Hello, 7th graders. We're going to start with our 3-video series here of extra word problems with systems. We're going to start with age problems. Age problems are problems that involve people's ages or problems that involve how old someone is over the course of years. So let's go over some examples. We'll go over 2, maybe 3 examples. You're going to see how it works, and then we'll go from there in solving them. So let's start with some problems here. Now, again, the biggest key piece of information, or the biggest hint I can give you, is to always let me know what is X, what is Y. So, for example, if we're doing a problem that talks about Tim's age, I could let Tim's age be X or Y or whatever you want. I'm just going to call it T. Now, in 6 years, how old would Tim be? If currently, right now, his age is T years, how old is he in 6 years? He would be T plus 6. Last year, how old would he be? He would be T minus 1. So these are all different expressions that we could write to represent different things based on someone's age. So let's start our first example. Example number 1. Paul is 3 times as old as Kathy. In 8 years, he will be twice as old as she will be. How old is each now? So right now, we need to figure out how old Kathy is and how old Paul is. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to write this. Paul and Kathy. Right now, how old is Paul? I'm going to use P. How old is Kathy? C. But in 8 years, how old are they going to be? Well, in 8 years, so I'm going to write in 8 years, Paul is going to be P plus 8, and Kathy is going to be C plus 8. So we now have to write 2 equations. Currently, right now, Paul is 3 times as old as Kathy. What equation would we write? Paul is 3 times as old as Kathy. P equals 3C. Now it says, in 8 years, he will be twice as old as she will be. So that means Paul, now that's, remember, Paul in 8 years, so that's P plus 8, he will be twice as old as Kathy. So that's going to be 2 multiplied by Kathy's age in 8 years. How old is she in 8 years? She's C plus 8. Here are my 2 equations. So now you can solve this however you would like. P equals 3C, and then P plus 8 equals 2C plus 16. We know P is equal to 3C, so I'm just going to use substitution. Take the 3C and plug it in. So that gives me 3C plus 8 equals 2C plus 16. Subtract 2C, that gives me C equals 8. So what do we know? Kathy is currently, right now, 8 years old. Paul is 3 times that. So Paul is 24 years old. Example 2. Elaine is 15 years younger than Al. 10 years ago, Al was 4 times as old as Elaine was now. How old is each now? Well, I'm going to use E for Elaine and A for Al, and I'm going to let those be their ages right now. 10 years ago, Elaine would be E minus 10, and Al would be A minus 10. And again, you can use X and Y. That's completely fine. So if I say Elaine is 15 years younger than Al, that would be Elaine is 15 years younger than Al. Now, some people could write it as A equals E plus 15. Because if Elaine is 15 years younger than Al, that means Al is 15 years older than Elaine. Either equation would work. Now it says 10 years ago, Al. So 10 years ago, Al would be represented by A minus 10. Equals 4 times as old as Elaine was then. So Elaine was E minus 10. And now we solve this. So I'm going to simplify a minus 10 equals 4e minus 40. So that's that equation. I'm going to take this, plug it in for Elaine. A minus 10 equals 4 multiplied by a minus 15 minus 40. And again, you could use elimination in solving this. That is completely fine. But for me, substitution was easier. So that would give me 3a. If I subtract a on both sides, that would be negative 100. I add 100, that'd be 90. Divide by 3. So currently, Al is 30 years old. And Elaine is 15 years younger than Al, so I'll plug it in right here. 30 minus 15, Elaine is 15 years. And there's your answer.